Training can be a fun way to spend time with your chickens and help build positive relationships. In this video, I will show you 3 fun behaviors to train your chickens. I will show you how to train your chickens to jump through a hoop, run through a tube, and to sit on your hand. Having your chicken target trained can help with training these behaviors. If you haven't already, check out our previous video to learn how to target train your chickens. Jumping through a hoop. This behavior only needs 2 things, a hula hoop and treats. If your chicken is target trained, you can also use the target to start this behavior. Start off with introducing the hula hoop to your chicken. This could be a scary new object to them, so it can be useful to introduce it from a distance at first and maybe have it laying on the ground. You can use the same techniques as we mentioned in our target training video on how to slowly and safely introduce a new object. When your bird is comfortable with being close to the hula hoop, you can then have the hoop upright but low to the ground. Using a target or lure, you will then bring them close to the hoop opening. You can stick the target through the hoop or your lure hand and then slowly pull it through the hoop to get your bird to come closer. Make sure you're holding the hoop securely. If your chicken steps on the hoop and it's unstable, this could spook your chicken and you may have to go back a few steps in their training to get them comfortable with the hoop again. Pull your target or lure hand through the hoop and reward them for each step of the way. Going through the hoop may be scary for your bird at first, so take baby steps to get them through the hoop comfortably. It may be easier to have a second person holding the hoops so you are able to reinforce your chicken easily and quickly. Continue these steps so your bird is comfortable walking through the hoop that is resting on the ground. You can also start to fade out the lure or target by slowly pulling the target away or showing less of the lure. Then you can start to raise the hoop slightly off the ground. Be sure to have a secure hold on the hoop so if they do step on the hoop or hop on it, it doesn't wobble too much. To get them to jump through the hoop, you can try to hold your lure hand or target further away from the hoop to give them space to jump. Slowly start to increase the height of the hoop as your chicken gets more comfortable with the behavior. You can also start to slowly fade out the use of a target or lure in the same way as mentioned before. Keep in mind what you are using to reinforce your bird for these behaviors. Chicken scratch can be hard to use for this behavior because it can get dropped or pecked out of your hand, which can disrupt the training session when they go to pick up the scraps. We use small bits of berries or produce as reinforcers for our chickens. Avoid using grapes as the skins can collect in their gut, causing problems. Going through a tube. You can use the same technique as mentioned with the hoop jumping behavior. Having your chicken target trained is helpful for the beginning stages of training this behavior. We used a collapsible dog agility tube for our chickens. We started off with having the tube as small as it can be, and we lured our chicken closer to the tube. Just like the hoop, you want to make sure the tube is secured to the ground or have a second person holding onto it. We want to avoid spooking your chicken. You may need to use a heavy bait or lure once your chicken is close enough to step onto the tube. We used berry pieces placed through the tube on the ground to slowly get our chicken to walk through. You also may need to slice down the approximation smaller when asking your chicken to step through the tube. Reinforce for small steps like touching the tube or even looking into the tube. Then you can slowly start to ask for more once your bird is comfortable with the tube. When your bird is confidently walking through the short tube, you can then start to increase the length of the tube. Keep in mind when you increase the length of the tube, you are also changing the environment a little. You may need to slice down the approximation smaller to make sure your bird is comfortable. Slowly start to increase the length of the tube until it's at the desired length. You can also start to fade out the lure or target slowly once your bird is confident with walking through the tube. This can be done by slowly pulling back the target or lure and only reinforcing for longer behaviors like walking through the tube till the middle, then just going all the way through, etc. Step up. The final behavior we are going to go over is a step up with your chicken. If your bird isn't comfortable eating from your hand, visit our video on how to teach your chickens to be cuddly for some helpful tips and tricks. Start off with feeding your chicken with one hand while your other hand is resting palm up flat on the ground. Slowly pull your food hand closer to your body while keeping the other hand flat. You will start to pull your bird closer to your hand resting on the ground. Your chicken may step around your hand a few times. You can simply reposition your food hand to get them to touch or brush your hand. Feeding for position can help with keeping your bird close to your perch hand that is resting on the ground. Keep feeding and pulling your food hand forward until you have both of their feet on your hand. Be sure to keep your hand nice and flat and steady. Feed your bird for standing on your hand that is still flat on the ground. Then you can slowly start to raise up your hand off the ground, making sure it's steady and flat. If your bird keeps stepping off your hand, you can readjust how you're feeding them or readjust your perch hand slightly. If they step off your hand, you don't need to reinforce them. Simply lure them back onto your hand and feed for 2 feet on your hand. With your bird perched on your hand, be sure to make slow movements so your bird doesn't lose balance. When your bird is comfortable with stepping on your hand and some slight movement of the hand, you can then slowly start to fade out the lure, but only rewarding for 2 feet instead of 1. Then feed for lifting, and so on. Soon, you will be able to have your chicken sitting on your hand. We hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching.